What is going on, people? Welcome back to another episode of the Mike Roach Show. As you can see, I have a very special guest on here for you today. Omer Osman, co-founder of Raptors Updates. He has been featured on ESPN, Sports Illustrated, House of Highlights, and Raptors Open Gym. And I will say this, he is one of my go-tos on X and on Instagram because your page is absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much. You're very quick on there and you have all the updates. So to me, from me and all the other Raptors fans out there who are following you, because I see your page is growing and growing fast. We thank you very much for all that hard work you're putting in keeping us updated with your channel. So Omar, welcome to the show and thank you for being here.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you so much to everyone that tunes in to my page, whether it's Instagram, Twitter. It's immense amount of appreciation and love for everyone that shows love for me.
All right, man. So first of all, where did your before we get into all the Raptors stuff, where did
Mhm.
your love of the Raptors begin?
As a kid, I was born in Toronto, and where I grew up, I was I lived and raised in Scarborough,
Mhm.
and where I grew up, kids in my neighborhood, no disrespect, like they weren't Leafs fans, they weren't Marlies fans, they weren't any of the other Toronto MLSC Blue Jays, any of that stuff. Only thing was Toronto Raptors, NBA, Toronto Raptors, NBA. When we went to school, we were talking about Vince Carter and then eventually Chris Bosh. We were talking about the other greats like Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, Tracy McGrady, and the impact and influence those guys had. And every time when there was a big game on television, immediately like we would watch it at night, and then the next day in school we would be talking about, oh hey, did you see Carter go off, or Tracy McGrady had another huge scoring night, and all that stuff, and that just like fueled my love and passion for the NBA basketball and the Toronto Raptors. And since then, which was like around the mid 2000s, ever since then, like I've been, I guess you can say I've been attached to the Toronto Raptors, and I've been in love with the team ever since.
That's amazing. That's amazing, man. That's a nice story to hear. So, with all that being said, you've been a fan of this team for many years, and now you're really putting in that work and giving us updates with this team, right? So, the first thing that I want to actually talk to you about is this big thing involving Kawhi Leonard, right? Everybody's talking about it. We don't know exactly how this thing is going to turn out, but just overall, what are your thoughts about this massive mess in this investigation going on with the LA Clippers, Steve Ballmer, and Kawhi Leonard?
Honestly, I have no idea where to start because, like, all due respect, like, obviously, this is like this current stuff is happening since the now stalled trade. But if we look back in time, like it's been going on since the 2019 offseason when Kawhi ultimately decided to join with the Clippers. And like I swear ever since we hear on the news that like a former Clippers employee comes out and says that there was some tampering involved with Kawhi signing to the Clippers, or how he had special treatment and getting these like he can live in a different city, or getting these plane rides, or come to practice whenever, and all that stuff. Like I feel like it's been like a mess that's been like slowly but surely like growing and growing. And now that we reached this point of aspiration, which was light has been shined on it by Pablo Torre's podcast. And when you hear about that stuff, it's like, oh my goodness, like you cannot even imagine it. But then when you look back on like Uncle Dennis and his demands and what he wanted and what he didn't want and stuff, it's like it's not as surprising, to be honest. Is you realize it that, man, like this has actually been going on for quite some time, but we never really like paid attention or focus to it. And now that we've reached the point of the trade of Kawhi returning back to Toronto, and then this ongoing investigation. It's like, man, oh man, like I really don't know like what to say. It's very disappointing to say the least. Uh, I don't know, to be honest. Like, I guess from the league standpoint as well, like who exactly is to punish? I feel like that is what's taking so
Mhm.
long. Like, should we punish Steve Ballmer, Uncle Dennis, Kawhi himself, any other external factors, aspiration, or any other companies or influential figures that need to be punished in this as well? So it's a very, very weird situation. Very disappointing for us Raptors fans, obviously, because we don't have anything to do with this. And I believe Bruce from the Toronto Star released that like back in 2019 when Uncle Dennis reached out for the Toronto to have like
Yes.
stakes in the Maple Leafs and stuff. And then Toronto was like, no, like it's all owned by MLSC and like we're not able to do that. Like that's against the rules and stuff. So Toronto has like nothing to do with this essentially. But it
Mhm.
really feels like the Raptors themselves are paying the price in this situation, and we're kind of like stuck in this weird limbo phase, and it's just a game of waiting, I guess. And I guess we'll see what the league's verdict will be at the end of the day.
So, what do you think ultimately happens when the end of this investigation is wrapped up? Maybe it's in a month from now. Maybe
Mhm.
something comes out in a couple weeks. Ultimately, what do you think is going to happen? Is Kawhi Leonard a Toronto Raptor, or does this thing get rescinded and we get back Grady Dick and Brandon Ingram? What's going to happen here?
I see it like from like two scenarios. To answer your first question, I personally think the trade will get processed. Um, as to who gets punished, that's like that's why this whole thing is taking up so long. I don't want to say like this person for sure or that person for sure, because there's like multiple perspectives, possibilities, suspects that could be involved. Kawhi could be involved, Uncle Dennis, Steve Ballmer, the Clippers organization. So I would leave that for the people to decide. It's kind of like a debate going on between the fans. This person's in trouble, this person's not in trouble. Um, I'll let the league decide that. But in the sense that if like this trade goes through, like I see Kawhi Leonard, Toronto Raptor, Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick. Thank you for your services, but I see them as LA Clipper at the end of the day. But scenario two, in the event, like you mentioned, that this trade doesn't go through,
Mhm.
I don't think BI and Grady would be a Toronto Raptor for much long. Like worst case scenario, it would be like up until the trade deadline, because it's like a very weird situation to be in. Because
Yeah.
I believe Michael Grange reported like multiple times that Grady and the front office they have agreed that they would be open to finding a new home. And so like if he comes back, Grady for sure is going to be, whether it's LA or somewhere else, 100% he's going to be on a new team. As for BI, it's kind of weird because he probably feels that like he got like backstab, like disrespected, that you guys are like trying to like upgrade me or replace me with another all-stars. And it's hard to say how he feels about this whole thing. Like if he wants to stay in Toronto, or if he's like wants to ask out, any situation is fair play. Like he's the one ultimately that should dictate where he want if he wants to stay in Toronto or elsewhere. Um, we'll see how it goes. I I would say that Bi would be in a new team, but since like before Toronto, he had so much love and appreciation for the city of Toronto and the Raptors fans. I could
Yeah.
also see a world where Bi is content with like being understanding of the whole situation and be like, it's okay, like front office was doing their thing. Like if I'm in Toronto, then I'll be in Toronto, no problem. So whatever Bi himself decides, like we should all like respect his decision.
Yeah, I hear that, and I can see that as well. Him just being a professional, understanding that this is a part of the NBA. It's a part of the job. So If he is back for any reason and this thing doesn't go through, I'm sure he'd be understanding of it. But like you mentioned, it still would be very, very awkward. It really, really would, because it doesn't happen very often in the NBA. Maybe just a handful of times we ever seen something like this happen. But we will move away from this mess with Kawhi Leonard for a second, and we'll talk very briefly about some of the other things going on with the Toronto Raptors. And the first thing I will ask you is this: is there any position that you would like to see the Raptors address right now that they haven't already addressed this offseason?
Very good question. I feel like you can look at this as like different ways, avenues, but personally, I feel like most people would agree with this, that the center and point guard positions need to be upgraded. Like, no disrespect to Emmanuel Quickly. I feel like if he remains, I'm still on the side of optimism that things will work out at the end of the day, that his play will be improved upon. A couple of days ago, I believe I shared a post. Emmanuel Quickly was with his trainer working on some hand-eye coordination drills to help improve as a point guard. So I really, really appreciate that. I feel like there's ways for him to have a bounce back season, and hopefully like whatever setbacks, struggles he had like the past 1 or 2 seasons, it's possible he turns it around. But in the event he doesn't turn it around, I would really hope the front office looks to find a way or situation to upgrade the point guard position. As for the center position, like feel like with Jakob Poeltl, it's like talent wise, I understand why fans don't like appreciate his talent or have questions about how good or not good he is on the team. But I feel like a lot of fans aren't understanding that he has been dealing with aches and pains, like with a lingering back issue throughout this past season. And I believe the season before he also had like some like nagging injuries and stuff that kind of like messed with him throughout that season. And if this, you know, big man and back pain is like, it's a huge red flag, and you don't want to wish that for uh, any big man on any team. So if that back issue is really serious,
Mhm.
I would really hope, because like the summer off season is kind of almost over. If not this summer off season, hopefully by the trade deadline we look for opportunities to upgrade the center position. Whether I don't have any like particular names in mind, but like from like a archetype like skill standpoint, preferably or hopefully it's a big that can stretch the floor, that can rebound, that is a force like on the interior that brings a strong interior defense. And if that if those like situations get resolved as soon as possible in terms of the center position, I feel like it just elevates the team's like ceiling to a whole new level. Like we
Mhm.
could be in the conversation for the Raptors could be in conversation for a deep playoff run, and that gets solved. And I like, as much as I'm excited about potentially Kawhi being on the Raptors, I feel like with the center position being upgraded, I would be like even more excited and happy for this team's potential and how far they can go.
So, with that being said, who are you most excited or interested in watching, like the most? Not name, for example, if Kawhi Leonard gets here, God bless him. Okay, and not name Scottie Barnes. I will ask you about Scottie Barnes in just a second. But
Mhm.
aside from those guys, right? Who are you most excited to see this season coming up?
Oh, Mike, you just spoiled my answer because I was gonna say Scotty or Kawhi. Nah, I'm joking. I'm joking about that. But kind of tying in with my last answer, I want to say Collin Murray-Boyles,
Mm,
because when CMB was drafted, for me personally, I thought he would be like backup for Scottie,
Yeah.
playing primarily as a four.
Mhm.
But with like the injury situation with Jakob, it really like blew my mind that like this young fella can play small ball five. Like he's really strong. Like he has like a
They're
lot of
super
strength,
strong.
just like Scottie himself. And there was the two times we faced San Antonio. Unfortunately, we lost both of them, but I'm not too focused on the two losses. I was really focused on how CMB was able to hold his own against Victor Wembanyama.
Good
Obviously,
points.
I
Yeah.
don't have the stat lines in front of me. Like maybe someone can say, "Oh, Wemby had this, CMB had this and that," but like from like guarding Wemby, like going full court and like in the post up, like he really made Victor Wembanyama work.
Yeah, I
And
did.
I believe early in the season he faced Steven Adams, and he mentioned like how incredibly strong Steven Adams is. Like
Mhm.
that was kind of like his welcome to the NBA moment. And I feel like as strong of a kid he is, like I feel like he focused even more on being stronger and stronger and understanding with like Yaka being injured that he needs to be a strong physical force himself. So if assuming presumably, let's say like Jakob doesn't get traded, and hypothetically, let's also say that sadly he's also dealing his like back injuries like are continuing throughout the season. I absolutely see CMB like being like a pseudo part-time, maybe even full-time center for the team. And let's say Kawhi's on the team, and then Scottie, and then CMV. Man, you have this three-headed monster of like scary front court defense. Like
Very.
good luck scoring against those three guys. Like Scotty, and then switch to Kawhi, and then switch to Scotty, and then switch to CMB. Like oh man, like it's a nightmare headache for opposing teams. So
And that's what we want to
CMB,
see.
man, that year two leap, I am so excited for CMB.
That's amazing. So you did mention Scotty a couple times, and we saw in the postseason what he did. He really stepped up big, and he really played well, right? So coming into this season, is there
Mhm.
anything about his game that you would like to see improve? What specifically?
For a guy like Scotty, it's really hard because he's really, honestly, he's a jack of all trades. So he can,
Oh yeah,
if he really wants to, he can literally do anything. But I feel like non Raptors fans aren't really giving him the love, respect, appreciation. And I feel like for him to gain those guys' respects, if he cares about that stuff, I want to see him be like a consistent scorer. I want to see him showcase his scoring abilities. I feel like if there's one area of Scotty's game that people may or may not have questions about, it would be his scoring. I feel like this past season, we saw some signs of him utilizing the post up, the mid range, and when he had the open three, he would take it, especially in the playoffs too, because when the Cavs would leave him wide open, more often than not, Scotty would make them pay. And I feel like his ability to stretch the floor was a huge reason why the series went on all the way to 7 games.
hmm
So I want to see more of that, like consistent 3 point shooting, scoring. If Scotty solidifies, strengthens his scoring, um, uh, there's no reason for me, anyone to say that like he should not be in like conversations of top 10, maybe even top five, but just to be safe, I would say top 10. If he had, because the defense is already there. We
yeah,
already know he's an
100%.
all defensive team caliber player, but add on to that scoring and be, I'm not good with numbers, but like 20 to 25 potential points per game, day in and day out. I feel like if he can flirt with those numbers,
Mhm.
100%. I would, I don't want to be selfish, but I would lead the force of arguing for Scotty's case to be top 10 player, 5 to 10 player in the NBA, 100%.
Listen, I'm super excited. It's a great answer. I'm very excited about Scottie Barnes this season. And I know that a lot of people are talking about what is going on with Kawhi Leonard and what's going to happen, the emergence of Collin Murray-Boyles and all that kind of stuff. But from what we saw in that playoff series, Scottie Barnes, man, him at the next level on both ends of the floor, he is just absolutely going to crush. But I'm going to ask you this as the final question before we end this thing.
Absolutely.
What do you make of all of the talk with DeMar DeRozan possibly coming back to the Raptors? What do you make of that?
Man, man.
You got a huge smile on your face right now.
Oh, brother. Love him, hate him, in between, whatever opinion you have of DeMar DeRozan, I'm not here to debate that. Objectively speaking, the DeMar DeRozan era, let's be real, every single year, regular season, we were what? Anywhere between 1 to 4, 1 to 4. Like we finished first seed, second seed, third seed, fourth seed. Obviously, with the pairing of him and Kyle Lowry, I don't want to take away anything from the growth, but DeMar DeRozan, like his scoring abilities, man, like we're Raptors fans. We don't have to explain to your audience, like how great of a scorer he is, and he's like inevitably going to crack that top 10 all-time scoring list. 100%.
He's close. Yeah.
Very close. Very close. Uh, to answer your question, I feel like for DeMar, for the fans, I personally ultimately believe it comes down to expectations that, he's like pushing like year 20s between like that year 15 to 20 range of NBA experience.
Mm-hmm.
So, like reality is like he's closer more to like retirement than his prime, if we're keeping it real.
Yeah.
That's not to say that he's a bad player or he's washed or anything. Like obviously he's still a really, really good scorer and all that stuff. But if we were to link DeMar with the Raptors, I feel like with reasonable expectations that fans should and the team, DeMar feel like should realize that I don't think he should come on the team as like expectation as how he was his first stint with Toronto, of like being the full-time starter, the primary scorer, and all that stuff. I feel like his like veteran leadership, his years of experience, couple that with his incredible scoring abilities, I feel like it would be a dream come true for the young Raptors squad.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, with like Kawhi hopefully on the team, he brings that veteran leadership experience and championship DNA, and DeMar himself brings his expertise, his knowledge of how he grew his offensive game. I feel like that would be invaluable for the young guys. And we add a player like DeMar DeRozan to our bench, I wholeheartedly believe that the team takes another step. How much of a step the Raptors take, that's hard to say because obviously you got to factor in injuries and how well everything glues and this and that and whatnot. 100% I believe DeMar DeRozan would be an improvement. I don't want to go too much detail into like the off the court stuff with him and Drake and like how the OVO fans view DeMar and stuff. Like I feel like that's another conversation for another day. But hypothetically, like if that stuff gets resolved and like everyone's on good terms and stuff, I wholeheartedly 100,000% believe that DeMar would be a huge improvement for the Raptors.
All right, appreciate you, Omar. Where can everybody find you online?
2 places. So if you're on X, formerly known as Twitter, my handle is Omer Osman 200, OMER OSMAN 200. And if you're on Instagram, my Instagram page is Raptors Updates, all just one word, RAPTORSUPDATES.
Appreciate you. Omar, like I mentioned, man, you're one of my go-tos on Instagram and on X. I appreciate all the information that you provide for us, knowledge on the Toronto Raptors and keeping us updated. Thank you very much, man.
Pleasure is always mine. Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you so much to your audience for always tuning in. I myself am a big fan of your content, so I would encourage my own fans and your fans as well to always tune into your content. The best.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. Hopefully, we're on this again soon together to talk some hoops this upcoming season. So appreciate you. Thank you, man.
Pleasure is always mine. Thank you so much.